Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and greetings everyone. Today I am going to give a brief explanation about the course, the assessments as well as the lectures for English for Oral Presentations ELC590. Now let us start with a bit of information about the course. I am pretty sure that all of you can read this course description or what the course is all about. I have also taken the liberty to highlight few important points about this course. As you can see here, there are words like oral presentations. This course also involved verbal and non-verbal communication skills. It also uses visual aids, and at the same time, you will also be taught on how to respond questions and comments orally from your audience. So by now, I think all of you, you may have already had with you a brief understanding what this course is all about. As you can see, at the end of the day, you will be presenting with some presentations. Perhaps the question now is, what sort of presentations? So we'll coming back to that question in a while when we go to the assessments. These are the course learning outcomes, and I am pretty sure also everyone can read this and understand this. This is very straightforward. I'll move on to the assessments. Now, when we talk about the assessments, basically this course consists of two main assessments. The first one is informative speech, and the second assessment is persuasive speech. As you all can see here, the informative speech covers the weightage for informative speech is 40% and the weightage for persuasive speech is 60%. So 60 plus 40 equals to 100%. Being said that, I think all of you know that we don't have final exam. We only have ongoing assessments. Let us move on with informative speech. Now, although this is an oral presentation course, the assessments that you are going to carry out are going to be speech assessments. In other words, you will be presenting two types of speeches. As I have already mentioned just now, the first one is informative speech and the second is persuasive speech. Now, for informative speech, the marks are divided into two parts. The first part goes to the speech, which is 30%, meaning when you deliver your speech, you will be assessed out of 30%. And the second part is the portfolio. Portfolio is basically a compilation of notes, materials that you use in order for you to come up with your speech. And the marks allocated for your portfolio is 10%. So all in all, 40%. So let us start with the speech. Basically, the speech, as I mentioned just now, is 30%. This is an individual assessment. Of course, when one delivers a speech, it's always just one person. If it becomes two or three, it won't be a speech. It will be like a choral speaking. So this is an individual assessment. So if I have 25 of you in my class, there will be 25 students presenting informative speech. And your presentation or your speech will just be about 5 minutes, not more than that, interestingly. So if you look at it, it's not really that long. But then again, to certain people, 5 minutes is like 5 seconds, too short. But to others, 5 minutes is just like 5 hours or worse, days or weeks. Very long. So that is all on you. Okay. Your presentation will be carried out via Google Meet. Now, I find this is very interesting because when we use Google Meet, you will get to present your slides at the same time. And also, I get to record the presentation. So that will be like the proof of your presentation or the proof that you have done or carried out your assessments. So it will be very interesting. However, later I will explain about your um, portfolio. Okay, your first speech, which is informative speech, is scheduled to be carried out on seminars 3 and 4. You can refer to the seminar schedule. The seminar schedule is where I have planned what I want to do throughout the 5 seminars. Okay, now let us talk about the portfolio. The portfolio is 10%. It's basically a compilation of materials used to prepare the speech. So when you want to prepare the speech, of course, you have to find materials, sources, whatever that is relevant to your speech, and you need to compile them. A portfolio is basically a proof of your progress of your speech. You cannot just have a speech out of the blue. You see, unless you copy the speech from somewhere else or from someone else, and that is plagiarism. Your speech must contain, your portfolio must contain, number one, a front cover, a content, outline of a speech. The template of the outline will be given, don't worry. A draft of a speech. A draft means that once you have prepared the outline, now you write your speech, more like an essay. But a draft is just a draft. On the actual day, your speech or the content of your speech may be different or slightly different than what you have drafted for your speech. But the changes have to be minor, not major. What are major changes? What are minor changes? Later, I will explain in some of the lecture videos. Also, in your portfolio, you must also include a graph or a chart or even a table. So you can choose a graph or a chart or a table, and I just need one. And that graph or chart or table has to be relevant to the speech topic. Also, you must include an article, just one. The requirement for first speech is one article, and that article can be from many sources. It can also be from books, from educational magazines, from newspapers, from websites, from research journals, anywhere that you can find any article. And I will also come up with a lecture video guiding you on what and how is considered as a good article. And once you have compiled all this in a form of a soft copy, meaning to say it has to be in soft copy form. Previously I asked my students to compile this in hard copy, but because of COVID-19 pandemic, and our class will be conducted online throughout the semester, I think it is best for you to compile this in soft copy forms. My advice is just use Microsoft Word. If you have articles, make sure that you copy the articles and paste it on Microsoft Word. By using Microsoft Word, it will be, number one, organized, very organized, and you can even save in PDF format so that the organization of your portfolio will stay as it is if you save in PDF format. And once you are done with your portfolio, you'll be submitting via Google Drive to me. Now, when you do this, the submission should be done before your speech. So as I have mentioned before, informative speech will be carried out in seminars 3 and 4. So those who are presenting in seminars 3, slightly before the speech day or before the assessment day, you must have already submitted via Google Drive. Any late submission will be resulted in getting marks being penalized. Now that we are done with informative speech, let us move on with persuasive speech. Now, very similar to informative speech, persuasive speech basically are divided into two parts. Number one, the speech itself, and number two, the portfolio. Now, as you can see, the weightage for persuasive speech is bigger as compared to your informative speech. Persuasive speech is 60% all in all. Now, why it is bigger? Because, well, for persuasive speech, the time is a little bit different. which I will explain in a while. Now let us talk about the speech. Very similar to your informative speech, the speech is 40%. It is an individual assessment. Now, instead of 5-minute presentation for your informative speech, persuasive speech, on the other hand, requires you to present for 7 minutes, an addition of 2 minutes. Again, your presentation will be via Google Meet, and it will be carried out on Seminars 5. So again, you need to refer to the seminar schedule. Now, one thing that I have to explain in details about the presentation for this speech. Given that if let's say the class, if we have 20 or 34 students per class, you can multiply that by 7 and you'll get that the minutes requirement, also the minutes required for that presentation is more than 2 hours. Now, since Seminar 5 will be conducted for only 2 hours, so how will the rest of your friends be presenting his or her speech? So this is how it's going to be. During Seminar 5, some of you will be presenting during class, and some of you will be presenting not during class. And not during class, I mean perhaps later that night on the same day, which is on Sunday, but perhaps at night, or the following days. And I will assign this carefully, and you need to adhere to your time when you are required to present your speech. Later, when I come up with a lecture video explaining about the assessments in details, I will explain in details too about on how to carry out your speech, your persuasive speech. And again, the portfolio is very much similar to the portfolio of your informative speech. It's just that the weightage is now 20% and the requirement is a bit greater. In a way of saying this, that the rest remains the same and you are not required to have a graph or a chart or a table, but you need to have at least 5 articles to support your speech. And again, the submission is via Google Drive. Now, let us talk about lecture materials. I think by now I have already uploaded all lecture notes via iClass. However, I have been given the understanding that iClass is highly congested at the moment, or perhaps throughout the semester, because a lot of lecturers are using iClass as their medium to communicate with their students. So not to worry, I will also share the notes in our WhatsApp group. If you have not joined the WhatsApp group, kindly do so. Refer to my announcement on iClass. Now, with regard to COVID-19, not COVID, yeah, I'm so sorry. COVID-19 pandemic, our seminar will be carried out online. I think by now everyone knows about this, yeah? So if you have any question, you can always ask me in the WhatsApp group. I guess that is all. Thank you.